So good morning, everybody. It's going to take me a moment to get oriented as to who all you are. My name is John Delaney. As you can tell, I'm the... Good morning, everybody. My name is John Delaney. As you can tell, I'm good morning, everybody. There's feedback from the YouTube.
Judge Delaney, do you know if you have the volume on the YouTube live stream? Because it sounds like your mic is picking up you and the YouTube playback, maybe.
You're right. Something having to do with the YouTube stream. Judge Delaney, do you know if you have the volume on the YouTube live stream? Because it sounds like your mic is picking up you and the YouTube playback, maybe. Something having to do with the YouTube stream. Do you know if you have the live stream? Because it sounds like your mic is picking up you. I don't know how to. YouTube. All right, I see a bunch of people muted. Can we all unmute for a moment, please? Thank you all for joining me here today.
Sorry. Sorry.
There's the usual barking dog. I have a name for them. I call them Zoom dogs.
I thought they were all put up. Missed one.
Let me figure out who all we've got. Ms. Hampton, what's your role in this case?
Foster to adopt mother. My husband just joined me, Derek Hampton. Replacement.
There he is. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Hampton. I see Selma Lee. You're identified as Big Country Casa. Welcome here.
Thank you.
And Assistant District Attorney Sammy Joe McGee. I see you there. Who engaged case management? Courtney Osborne, right?
Yes, sir.
And Susan Black, to engage supervisor. See you there.
Yes, sir.
And Brianna Booth, Big Country Casa. Are you the volunteer?
No, Your Honor, I'm the advocate supervisor
Okay.
for
So
the advocate.
The advocate then is Selma Lee.
So the advocate is Katie Jennings, although she wasn't able to make it today. So I'm here.
And Mr. Johnson, I note your presence there. You had been the attorney ad litem for the child.
Yes, sir.
You continue in that role, no longer guardian ad litem.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hurst, what's your role, please?
Your Honor, I'm the attorney for the unknown father.
So there was another lawyer who was the attorney for the, so were there separate lawyers? One for the unknown, one for the named?
My understanding is that once we found the alleged father, Mr. Rangel, that Miss Drennan was appointed to represent him specifically. And I thought I was probably finished on this case, but since the results came back as they did, it appears that's not quite the case yet, Judge.
Okay, so were there orders appointing you for the unknown and her for the alleged?
That's my understanding, yes, Judge.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I realize you've already had one status hearing. I scheduled this one because we had up until recently, the problem of the paternity test on the dad. And I think I was informed by Julie, who was on the call with us, that there had been no status hearing as to the father because he hadn't been tested yet. So we still got the issue of the diligence to locate another potential. And I thought that was something we needed to inquire into today. And we don't have a caseworker from the department, but I take it that in your geography, this Engage organization fills that role.
Yes, Judge.
All right. So there's going to come a time, I suspect, well, I'm not going to say that. I want to make sure if there's going to be a termination as to an unknown father here, the record is full of information about the diligence of the department to try to locate. And in a review records I was given, I don't see anything yet, unless I missed it, about checking the birth certificate of this little girl, hospital records, baptismal records, going back to mother to double check, checking with the Attorney General's office to see if there's been some child support action initiated at some point. They are associated with the case, I noticed. So who will update me about all this under oath?
I can, Judge. Certainly, I can provide context for what's in the file, and then if there's any additional factual information, Ms. Osborne can provide it. Common practice, I guess, in Taylor County is before the judge is willing to appoint someone to locate the unknown father, Judge Probst requires us to issue an affidavit of the department's preliminary efforts to identify and locate the father. That was included in an attachment to the motion for substituted service filed on October 14th of 2021. The CCJ search, I believe, was e-filed on September 27th of 2021. There were two prior Attorney General actions. Oh, I apologize, Judge.
Tell us all what a CCJ search is.
So we contact the Central Registry in Austin, where all cases involving custody of children in Texas are registered. And they sent us a response back saying that there is no case regarding this child in Texas, or I guess confirming paternity. There were prior cases, 2 different cases where 2 men were tested and they were not the father. Mr. Rangel was the 3rd person to be tested, also not the father. And so once the department does their preliminary search, which is detailed in that October 6th affidavit, the judge appoints an attorney for the unknown father to essentially complete a second search to see if there's anything that the department missed. And ordinarily at the time of or prior to our final hearings, the attorney who is appointed to locate the unknown father issues some kind of report about what they did in addition to the department's prior efforts. But that affidavit sets out the interview with the mother, the interview with the managing conservator, and just the other steps taken trying to see if there was perhaps a 4th possible person. But at this point, we haven't been able to obtain the identity or location of a probable father. And the last thing, let me make sure, I believe that we e-filed the paternity registry search, which is just another step taken to show that we contacted the central office in Austin to affirm that no one has registered. Yes, that was e-filed on November 3rd of 2021, affirming that nobody has registered to claim potential paternity for this child.
So has detailing exceptions to
Judge Delaney, I apologize. I can't hear you.
yeah, sorry. Just a moment. Well, isn't it the responsibility of the department initially to perform its search, exercise due diligence?
Yes, Judge. And so that was the purpose of the original affidavit that was attached to the October 14th motion. It's going through the process of getting the additional attorney appointed and conducting a second search exceeds the requirements under the family code. It's just bit locally.
Okay, I'm afraid that I don't have that affidavit. I did not ask Julie to provide it to me. I asked her for pleadings and reports. So I have this question. Do any of your documents, this affidavit, for example, talk about looking at the birth certificate for, I'm sorry, how do you pronounce her name, the little girl?
I'm pronouncing it Italy.
Italy, okay. How about, has somebody looked at the birth certificate for her?
I don't know if To Engage has the birth certificate. We have the BVS report, which includes the birth certificate records and the subsequent amendments, and that does not list a father. Ms. Osborne, have we obtained the separate birth certificate yet?
Yes,
hang
so
on.
I do have the birth certificate with me.
Hold
Right.
on. Raise your right hand, please. Every non-lawyer on screen, raise your right hand. Be sworn in case you're asked to testify. Do each of you swear the testimony you'll give will be the whole truth? Mr. Johnson, you're muted. That's why you can't hear me. I mean, that's why I can't hear you. All right, so go ahead, Ms. Osborne.
Yes, sir. I do have the birth certificate with me right now. I did also obtain the birth records for Italy as well.
And who is named as the father in either of those documents?
On the birth certificate, it does not have a father named. And on the birth records, I'm looking at them right now. I do not see a father named on here either.
And where are these records from?
These records are from Hendrick Medical Center.
I'm sorry, repeat it, please.
From Hendrick Medical Center
And where is that?
in Abilene, Texas.
Okay, so this child was born in Abilene.
Yes, sir.
So is this information about the birth certificate and the birth records described in the October 6th affidavit?
I am not sure. I just recently obtained these birth records. I did not have these birth records on October the 6th.
Do we know if there's a baptismal record somewhere?
I do not know.
Has the mother been asked about that?
I apologize. I'm not too sure what a baptismal record is.
Well, I think it's a record maintained at a church where a child is presented for baptism.
Okay. I personally have not asked her mother if there has been a record of that. No, sir.
Mother was interviewed. I sent that unknown father affidavit, the one that was previously e-filed. I sent that in the chat to everyone that addresses the interview conducted with the mother and with the managing conservator.
So I think the department's petition in this case says that each parent should submit things like birth certificates and baptismal records, etc. So I understand that that is a sort of a form pleading, but you you've gone on record with that pleading, suggesting that a baptismal record is an important place to look for the name of parents. So does it seem like it would be important to go back to mom? I understand she's been terminated, but incidentally, while we're on that subject, has that been made final with severance, or is that just an interlocutory order?
Interlocutory.
Okay. I think I throw this out for discussion and rebuttal. This is not my order. The question is, would it not be a good idea to extend this due diligence to interviewing mom again, letting her know that Mr. Rangel is not the dad, asking for other possibilities, and asking about a birth certificate, a baptismal record if if the child was baptized. We don't know whether she was or wasn't. Anybody see a problem with that?
Can we have communication with her?
I'm sorry, I only got part of that.
We have communication with the mother, and so we can ask her. I'm confident that the answer is going to be that she lacks a baptismal record. I don't think that that would cause any significant delay in the case.
Ms. McGee, I believe we've had contact with her in the past. I'm not sure that we still have contact with her. I would invite one of the Hamptons to share some of that information.
Judge, this is Derek Hampton. I'm the fictive kin foster parent. We have been involved with this mother for a little over 3 years. We adopted her younger daughter, who was, we brought her home from the hospital after mother gave birth to her. Mother went off to prison and was released about the time that the removal in this case took place. I maintained contact with her the first several months of this case, as most recently as December 30th. She is on parole. She lost her job not too long ago and also was asked to move out of her grandmother's residence. And we have not heard from her since. So she may very well be not doing well and not have access to the one means of communication we had with her, which was a telephone number. Last I met with her, she was she provided some Christmas gifts and some clothing for the children. I met her at a low budget hotel and received those gifts from her.
So I'm used to saying department. I don't know what to say in this case.
Department is still fine. Under their contract, they're ordered to stand in the shoes of the department for all purposes.
So department, Ms. Osborne, do you have some communication with this mom?
No, Your Honor, I do not have any communication with Angelina Pena.
And Mr. Johnson, how about you?
No, sir, no contact with her.
You have her telephone number, I assume. Do you have her telephone number?
I do not. All of the contact that I've had with her has been at hearings and through the Hamptons.
Ms. Osborne, do you have a phone number on her, whether it's currently working or not?
I have her phone number from whenever she was on the case, and the one that I used to contact her. I do have that number. I have not reached out to her since the last court hearing, whenever she relinquished her parental rights.
Why don't you pick up that phone now?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't hear you.
I said, why don't you pick up that phone right now and talk to her?
Yes, sir.
We'll wait.
It did not even ring.
Okay.
It said it was not a working number just now.
So, Ms. McGee, you may have answered this question in your first response, I said something about whether the Attorney General's office has a current or past case on this child and child support. Do we know the answer to that?
They've opened 2, but in both cases, the alleged father submitted to genetic testing and was not the father. And so there are no other cases, whether through the Attorney General's office or otherwise privately filed, that include a father. This would have been the 3rd one involving Mr. Rangel, but he wasn't the father either.
Is it conceivable that it's a family secret that everybody is keeping close to them, that the biological father of this little girl is somebody in the family, like one of those uncles?
I don't think that came up as an issue or suspicion in this is the 2nd child of this mother. My recollection is that in the other child's case, there was also an unknown father. So I don't think that issue came up then. Not to my knowledge, I guess.
So what we all want is that if there's going to be a termination, that everything be nailed down so that there'd be no difficulty with adoption. I gather from everything that's been said, nobody knows how to find the mother to give her the news about Rangel and ask her for other possibilities. What about the maternal grandmother, Sandra?
Your Honor, there may be one avenue of reaching the mother, which is through her parole officer.
Now, are we confident she's on parole?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Can we help Ms. Osborne find out the contact info on that parole officer? Somebody.
I can have one of the investigators at the DA's office contact parole.
Is that the most efficient way?
I don't know that they, since I'm, Your Honor, for context purposes, I'm an attorney who works a lot of these cases, but in this capacity, I'm solely the foster parent. I'm not, and I have not intervened. I'm not an attorney representing my wife as an intervener. I'm solely a foster parent. So I don't think that parole would talk with me. I think it's going to need to be someone coming from an official position.
If them. But we need to try. So here's what I propose. Ms. McGee and your clients work on this and give us an email report to everyone, copy to the file about what you uncover. Fair enough. So from my experience with CASA organizations, I know that one of the things they often do is work through some software that they have access to do searches. I don't know whether you do that out there in your big country CASA. What do you have to say about anything you can do to aid the search for the unknown father? Or for that matter, the known mother at this point?
Your Honor, we do have CFE, so we might have the ability to do that. And so I will check with that person and ask her if we can provide that information and see what we can come up with on our end.
Okay, tell us all what BFE is.
CFE, that is
Collaborative family engagement.
there. Thank you.
And
So
what is
I'm sorry.
cooperative family engagement?
Your Honor, we have a specific person designated in our office whose job is to actually track down family members. She reaches out with people from To Engage. She works very closely with everybody to be able to find the people we're looking for and to expand the family tree and get all the information that we need. So that's her one job, and she's very good at it.
Okay, you say you have that person locally.
Yes, she's
Okay. Am I to understand then that you will turn her loose on this problem?
yes, Your Honor. I will, first thing after this hearing, I will walk on over to her office and I will let her know what we're working on.
Do you have all the records that you need from this case?
I do have quite a few. I have most of the necessary documents, but most likely I'll be requesting a little bit more so that we have more information.
Okay. And you know who to ask for that information, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm unfamiliar with your practice there. The answer to this may be buried in an order I haven't looked at yet. But have we scheduled a final hearing in this case?
Your Honor, the next permanency hearing needs to be by March 11th. We're gonna.
Is that Julie talk? Is that Julie talking?
Yes, sir.
All right, why don't we set that permanency hearing while we're all together here on the phone, the Zoom call. And why should we not? There are other hearings we need to schedule as well, at least certainly a final.
Sir. What is your availability, Judge?
Repeat.
And Mr. Hurst, Mr. Johnson, do y'all need more time before just proceeding to final?
No, ma'am.
Because realistically, I think that George will be able to get contact information for the local parole officer within a week. And even if we can't get contact with the mother within the next week, we're going to be able to show our efforts to do so. And we'll probably be able to contact grandmother about baptismal records this week. And so as long as we have 45 days notice, that's kind of where my head's at.
I agree.
And I don't anticipate needing any additional time outside of just what would be the 45 days.
Make the observation that even though mother
Judge, we cannot hear you.
even though mother has been terminated, that's an interlocutory order, so she ought to receive notice of the final hearing, as well as notice of the permanency hearing, all notices of all hearings. All right, so let's talk about those dates. Somebody asked me about my availability. Why don't you propose a date, Julie, and let's see what how that works for everybody. First, for the permanency hearing.
Thursday, March 3rd.
I believe it's already scheduled on my calendar. I show 2:30 permanency hearing. Everybody on board for that already?
Yes.
Everyone
Yes,
have
sir.
notice of that? At least by now.
That was from the original scheduling order that we first issued when Judge Probst was still on the case.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, it's still on then.
Okay.
Since I don't anticipate requesting more than 30 minutes, possible to just set those concurrently. So I guess that would put us about 1 week too soon if we're doing 45 days notice. I apologize. I think the final would need to be done after March 10th.
Okay, Julie, propose a date.
So what are we looking at for a final? What date? What time frame?
After March 10th, Ms. McGee said.
Whenever, March 14th. That's spring break. So a lot of you are off. Monday, March 21st.
I've got 3 settings in Jones County on the 21st, so I'm probably going to be out of town most of the day.
The 22nd.
Got nothing that day.
Good for me.
And me.
What time would you like to do it, Judge? 9 or 10? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Whatever is most convenient to others is fine with me.
Okay.
I have nothing on that day.
Say 10 o'clock. Does that work, Grayson?
10 is fine with me.
Ms.
And
McGee, is that all right, Ms. McGee? 10 a.m. on March 22.
March 22nd at 10. That'll be the final hearing.
Yes.
The perm we had originally is on March 4th at 10:30, not the 3rd. Does that work for everyone? March 4th at 10:30?
Was that the original scheduling order for the final hearing?
No. No, it was for a perm hearing. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong case. Next perm we had scheduled March 3rd at 2:30.
Okay.
So we're going to go straight from a perm to the final. We're not going to have a pretrial. You don't need a pretrial.
I don't see the need.
Okay.
But I'll just tell you this, depending on what is reported to me and what we know as of the permanency hearing, there may be another hearing between that and March 22, or I may set March 22. I want every rock turned over reasonable to locate a possible father so that he can get involved in the case and, well, at least so we can demonstrate diligence in trying to locate the father. Anything else that we can handle this morning?
Draft a new scheduling order with these two new dates on it for your signature?
I'm sorry, what?
Would you like me to draft a new scheduling order with these two dates on it for your signature?
Julie, I already have a draft of an order setting, and so I can just send it through. That way you don't have to draft anything extra.
That's fine with me, whatever your custom is there. We certainly should have something of record in the file setting a final hearing and showing that it was complied with a 45-day rule. So, Mr. Hurst, after you get some more information from who engage, make sure that the record reflects you having discharged your responsibilities as the lawyer for the unknown father in the
Yes,
code.
Your Honor. And I'll file a report as we get closer to the conclusion, detailing my efforts.
Very good. All right then. Well, thank you all. This has been productive. Anybody have anything else before we leave?
Yes, sir.
Casa, thank both of you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank you, Your
involvement.
Honor.
If there's nothing else, everyone, I'm going to end the hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, yeah.